You're exactly right. We do like moats, and we used to be able to identify them in a newspaper that was the only newspaper in town, or in TV stations where we felt the dominant positions, and we felt the product was underpriced in terms of advertising. We saw it in brands sometimes, and it is true that in the tech world, if you can build a moat, it can be incredibly valuable. I've not felt the confidence that I was the best one to judge that in many cases. It wasn't hard to figure out who was winning at any given time or what their business was about, but there were a huge number of people that knew more about the game than I did, and we don't want to try and win at a game we don't understand. But the principles haven't changed. You're right that some of the old ones have lost their moat, and you're right that there are going to be companies in the future that have them that will be enormously valuable, and we hope we can identify one every now and then, but we'll still stay within where we think we know what we're doing, and obviously we'll make mistakes even within that area. But we won't go into something because somebody else tells us it's a good thing to do. I mean, we are not going to subcontract your money to somebody else's judgment. You can take your money and follow somebody else's judgment, but we're not in the business of thinking that if we hire 10 people with specialties in this area or that it will lead to superior investment results. And we do worry that we could blow a lot of money that way. So we'll do our best to enlarge the circle of competence of the people at Berkshire so that we don't miss so many. But we'll miss a lot in the future. We missed a lot in the past. The main thing to do is to find things where our batting average is going to be high. And if we miss the biggest ones, that really doesn't bother us as long as the things we do with money work out okay.
Warren, for years you stayed away from technology companies, saying they were too hard to predict and didn't have moats. Then you seemed to change your view about technology when you invested in IBM, and again when you recently invested in Apple. But then on Friday you said IBM had not met your expectations and sold a third of our stake. Do you view IBM and Apple differently? And what have you learned about investing in technology companies?
Well, I do view them differently, but when I bought the IBM, started buying it 6 years ago, I thought it would do better in the 6 years that have elapsed than it has. And Apple, I regard them as being quite different business. I think Apple is much more of a consumer products business in terms of in terms of sort of analyzing moats around it and consumer behavior and all that sort of thing. It's obviously a product with all kinds of tech built into it. But in terms of laying out what their prospective customers will do in the future as opposed to, say, on IBM's customers, it's a different sort of analysis. That doesn't mean it's correct, and we'll find out over time. But they are two different types of decisions, and I was wrong on the first one, and we'll find out whether I'm right or wrong on the second. Charlie?
Well, we avoided the tech stocks because we felt we had no advantage there and other people did. And I think that's a good idea, not to play where the other people are better. But if you ask me in retrospect, what was our worst mistake in the tech field? I think we were smart enough to figure out Google. Those ads worked so much better in the early days than anything else. So I would say that we failed you there. And we were smart enough to do it and didn't do it. We do that all the time, too.
Yeah, we were their customer very early on with Geico, for example. I remember, we were paying them $10 or $11 a click or something like that. And anytime you're paying somebody $10 or $11 every time somebody just punches a little thing where you've got no cost at all, that's a good business unless somebody's going to take it away from you. And I knew the guys. I mean, they actually designed their prospectus. They came to see me. I had plenty of ways to ask questions or anything of the sort, educate myself, but I blew it.
We blew Walmart too. we were smart enough to figure that out, and we didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, figuring out execution is what counts. So, anyway, well, and I could be making two mistakes on IBM. It's harder to predict, in my view, the winners in various items, or how much price competition will enter in to something like cloud services and all that. And I asked Charlie whether he could think of a situation like it, where one person has built an extraordinary economic machine in two really pretty different industries, almost simultaneously, as has happened.
From a standing start at zero.
From a standing start at zero, with competitors with lots of capital and everything else, to do it in retailing and to do it with the cloud, like Jeff Bezos has done. I mean, Andy Grove at Intel used to say, think about if you had a silver bullet and you could shoot it and get rid of one of your competitors, who would it be? Well, I think that both in the cloud and in retail, there are a lot of people that would aim that silver bullet at Jeff. So it's a remarkable business achievement where he's been involved actually in the execution, not just bankrolling it, of two businesses that. Charlie, you got further thoughts?
Well, we're sort of like old-fashioned people who've done all right. And Jeff Bezos is a different species.
And we missed it entirely, incidentally. We never owned a share of Amazon.